Yeah, in your next chapter, wherever you're at in midlife, it could be the most amazing chapter of your life, right?
Of course. And that's what I tell my women. I tell them, listen, we're going to make this next chapter way more exciting than your past. Like, why not? The possibilities are endless. Like, why do we have to choose to think that, oh no, it's all downhill from here? But you get to choose that. But you also get to choose a different path if you want to.
Yeah, it's you're the author of your own story, right?
Yes.
Welcome everybody to the Life is Now Do It While You Can show. I'm Suzanne Oshima and I'm a life coach for women in midlife. And today we have a very special guest, Kwavi, and she's a life coach and author. And today we're talking about it's not about aging gracefully, it's about aging boldly. So welcome, Kwavi. I am so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. And I'm so excited to be here. And I'm so grateful that you invited me to come on your podcast.
I know. I think you're amazing. So, can you first share with
Yes.
our audience is how did you become a life coach?
All right. So I really got involved in life coaching when my husband and I, we owned a medical weight loss center many, many years ago. And when we did the program, we did this together because I really wanted to help women lose weight, especially that age of 40s. They noticed, body was changing. They were doing the same things we were doing before, and it wasn't working. And so it was a physician approved weight loss center. But what I noticed that for a lot of the women, they became very dependent on the appetite suppressants. And I knew that there was another piece to this where I could help coach them on like their mindset and help them understand why all of this was happening to them. And then, give them tools that they can use even afterwards. Like, how could they make this sustainable? And so I was just searching around, Googling, looking like, okay, life coach. Actually, I wanted to be a weight loss coach. So that was for the life coach thing that was like secondary. For me, it was more like I want to help them lose weight. And how can I, kind of work with them on their mindset? And so I, looked around and found the life coach school where I trained. And then I learned that there were other tools that I could use for myself as well in terms of just general life, not just about trying to lose weight. And I use the tools every day. I mean, it's just it just being a life coach is just like one of the amazing things I have done for myself, and I've used it to help my clients, family, friends, and yeah, so just love it.
I love that. And I love that you said it's not just about the weight loss because I agree. A lot of people don't talk. It's about the mindset, right? It's a bigger picture because too many people just focus on losing the weight, the number on the scale. But if you don't change what's up here, how are you going to change the number on the scale, right?
Exactly. Yes. And even thinking about like what does that number on the scale mean to you? Like what is that number? And helping them understand that and uncover all of that. That's where the life coaching skills come into play.
Yeah, it's so true. Well, let's talk about about embracing our age. So we might as well start with us because if we can't embrace our age, how can we tell our audience to embrace our age? So,
Yeah.
Kwavi, would you like to share how old you are or
Yes.
how young you are?
I am 57 years bold.
Awesome. Awesome. And you look absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And I'll go along with that theme. And I am 60 and I'm bold. So
Yay.
I'm all about embracing my age. I've never
Yeah,
hid my age. I'm proud to say it. I mean, geez, I
exactly.
feel like I earned it, right?
Of course. And that's the whole thing. Like I talk about age pride, like having pride in your age. And really embracing your age starts with you actually saying out your age out loud. And I know for some women that's a challenge, but that's the first step when you're able to say it out loud, like, yeah. And say it in a way that you're not whispering it, you're not saying it kind of like so people can hear, you're saying it out loud. Yeah.
So, share with the audience why it's so important to embrace your age and be able to say that number out loud and be proud of it.
because it allows, because when you do that, you're more or less telling the world that you matter. You're making a difference, because this is the thing, the way society is structured right now, they like worship the youthfulness of people. That's the whole thing. It's like we live in a very youth centered society. And so when you're able to say out your age, you're almost saying that, yes, we do matter too, because unfortunately, we live in a society that pushes, especially women, pushes older women to the side, say that we don't matter, say that we're invisible. And so when you're able to stand up, you're given voice to say, no, what you're saying isn't true. I don't agree with that. And we're also, like, when we say it out loud like that, we're also telling the younger generation that this is something that you can look forward to. Like, youthfulness isn't something that you have to keep on chasing, that you can start to embrace who you are as you get older. Because right now, they don't see a lot of that. They don't.
Yeah, you're so right. I love that you say that because it's true. If we're hiding our age, then what we're doing is saying it's okay that society pins us as we don't matter, you're too old. And we're saying, yeah, I agree with you when we shouldn't. Why?
Yeah,
Why?
I agree. It's
So why is it disempowering for women not to share their age?
because it's saying in a nutshell that your value diminishes as you get older. That's exactly what you're saying.
Mm,
Because you can't say it out loud. Because you are not ashamed to say your age when you're in your 20s, right? In your 30s, and then 40s, things change. It's almost like, ooh, I have an expiration date. Expiration date on your value? No. But that's what you're saying, because you're really saying that you no longer have the same value that you had when you were a younger person. But that's not
yeah.
true. It's so untrue.
Yeah, that is so you make really great points. I'll share a story about someone that I knew. This was a long time ago, and I thought we were around the same age. We were friends, and we were talking one day, and I said something, and I can't remember. It was something like, "We're about the same age. How old are you?" Because I didn't know the exact age,
Yes.
and she would not tell me. She would not tell me. And we were good friends, by the way. It wasn't just an acquaintance. And I remember when she said it, I was actually taken aback. And I was like, wow, I find that kind of odd that she's ashamed to tell me her age.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it made me actually think that maybe she's actually older than I really think she is because she wouldn't share her age. But I respected it
Yeah.
and I didn't press the issue. But I just thought to myself, how odd that she can't embrace her age. I mean, we've all come really far in our lives, right?
Yeah.
It's like we should be proud how far we've come
Yeah.
and look how much I've done. And I will tell you to this day, I still don't know how old she was. Like, I have no idea. It's so odd to me, but, what are your thoughts on someone that, like, will not share their age, even with a friend?
Like you, I would find that rather odd. And it just tells me that they are buying into this age old narrative that younger
Mhm.
is better, period. That's what it is. Because if you can't say your age out loud, like what are you hiding? Why are you hiding that? It's
Yeah.
your age. You own that. Like, own your age.
Yeah, you just said something that's really interesting. You said, people a lot of people think younger is better.
Oh
But I
yes.
would love to know, Kwavi,
Yes.
how for you in your life is being older better than when you were in your 20s and 30s?
Well, first of all, I'm so much wiser. I've done so much. I'm way more confident than I was in my 20s and 30s. I'm like, why wouldn't I want to embrace why wouldn't I want to shout my age, for everyone to hear? Like, for me, this is I've earned this. I've come
Mhm.
this far. And I have so much more wisdom. Like, why wouldn't I? It's really baffling and that's why, even when, because I do a lot of I do a lot of posts on Instagram and TikTok. And whenever I do that, the first thing I put up there is I am this. I put my age first. So that people like, no. And sometimes people are like, oh, you always put your age. I'm like, yeah, I put my age because I want people to realize that my age is not something I want to be ashamed of. And in a way, it's almost encouraging other women to be more open about their age. Yeah.
Yeah, it's truly about we as women standing in our power and being proud of it and saying, "This is what I am." And you know what? If you don't like it or you think whatever about my age, that's on you. That's not on me,
It's,
right?
oh yeah, it's not. It's not. It's them. And but I'm hoping that things are changing. Like people are beginning to see that women in their 50s and beyond matter. We do have value. Our value does not diminish because we're getting older. And I'm hoping the message, I mean, it's slowly, it's taking, it's a slow pace, but I think it is changing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I really feel like it is. I feel like we're in a different narrative,
Yes.
but it's also about us embracing our age. So, for a woman like my friend that shared with you, who wouldn't share her age and but who is on the fence now because they're hearing, you really need to embrace your age and really stand in your power as a woman. And she's like, "Yeah, I kind of really want to do that, but." Uh, I feel funny doing. So, what are some things that a woman can do to really start embracing her age if she's feeling like, I don't want to do this?
I think one of the things really is asking yourself why. Why are
Mm,
you choosing to think that you can voice out your age, like out loud? Like, what is the reason? I mean, because that's important for yourself. Because maybe there is a part of you that feels, whether it's this age old belief that people say, oh, it's not polite to ask a woman her age. And that too, I disagree with completely. Like, who came up with that? Like, who came up with that? Oh, you can't ask a woman her age. It's impolite. Impolite in what? It's just her age. It's her age. It's not, you're not asking her for her, her personal details. Like, really.
right. Your
But
social security number.
thank you, or account number, none of that, or her, home address. So for me,
Mhm.
it's really awesome because, from coaching, that's one of the things that I really believe in is asking questions, like really asking yourself, why are you choosing to think that you can't voice your, like, what is really stopping you? Like, what's the reasoning behind it? Because from there, we'll be able to figure out, okay, is it because maybe growing up, like I've had people tell me that when they grew up, they're like, I remember a guest I had on one of my shows, she said her mother had actually told her that 40, after 40 is all downhill. Like, make sure you get married, make sure you do all these things because after that, it's all downhill. And so that's what she had. That's for her, it was like, okay, after 40, I can't really do anything anymore. I can't say my age. I can't do any of that because once I hit 40, no one takes me seriously anymore. Like, I mean, and so we don't know. I don't know the experience that they've had that has now made them feel, oh, I can't say my age. It's not something, it's not something we do. It could be a number of things, but being able to really ask yourself the question, like, why? Like, why is this difficult for you? Why is this challenging for you? What's the reason why you think you can't do it? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's a really great point because we don't know where someone's come from, right?
No, no.
Their backstory. But when you were talking about that person that felt like life starts to go downhill at 40, the first thought that popped into my mind was, "Oh my god, my life began at 40." Like I
See?
felt like I really started to live my life. And like you said earlier, I just felt like I was so much smarter and wiser. Like in my 20s, I was clueless. I thought I knew everything, but I was clueless.
Yeah,
So, it's all a matter of context of
it
where.
is. And
Yeah,
then also being open to see the possibilities of it could look like this. And looking like this could also be great for you, as opposed
yeah,
to what you've looked, the way you've been looking at it in the past. Yeah,
yeah, and your next chapter, wherever you're at in midlife, it could be the most amazing chapter of your life,
of
right?
course. And that's what I tell my women. I tell them, listen, we're going to make this next chapter way more exciting than your past. Like, why not? The possibilities are endless. Like, why do we have to choose to think that, oh no, it's all downhill from here? But you get to choose that. But you also get to choose a different path if you want to.
Yeah, it's you're the author of your own story, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, Kwavi, you have a book. You wrote a book called 50 Questions to Answer When You Reach 50.
Yes.
So, we can't go through all 50 questions,
Yes.
unfortunately, but what
Yes.
would you say are the top two questions women really need to ask themselves after 50?
One of the questions I really like women to ask themselves is, what do you want your life to look like now that you're in your 50s? Like, what? I mean, think about the most like amazing thing you've never really thought about. Like, allow yourself to dream because most women don't dream. They don't. They just
Mm,
don't allow. I'm like, allow yourself to dream. What is it that, when you even think about it, it's like you almost like your heart is like racing. Like, what is that
mhm.
for yourself? Because I want women like to really get excited about their lives. And a lot of women don't. It's like they feel like, oh, just so. I'm like, no, let's really get excited about what's next for ourselves. Like, what is that? And
Yeah.
allowing yourself to think that, this is possible. Why am I choosing to think that this is not possible? Like, I want women to start thinking, this is possible for me. How am I going to make this happen? Like, why not?
And I think it's important for women in midlife to remember that anything is possible and not limit yourself just because you've aged. Like maybe we dreamed bigger when we were in our 20s and 30s, but maybe we feel like, oh, now that I'm older, I need to rail it back. What do you say to women that feel like they need to rail it in?
I'm like, no. And one of the things I've noticed with a lot of women, I always, and I mentioned this in my book also, is like, what are some of those things that keep coming up for you, but you keep suppressing? Like,
Mm,
that is, and I'm a Christian, so I always say, this is God's way of telling you that, you know what, this is something that you need to do. Like, you keep, suppressing, and it comes up. Like, maybe you've had some dreams that were in your 20s and 30s, and things happen and change, and, you kind of pushed it to the side, but they keep bubbling to the surface. I'm like, listen, that is for
yeah.
you. Like, how are we going to make that happen? Like, stop suppressing it. Like, when you're on your deathbed, that's the other thing I ask my clients. When you're on your deathbed, are you going to regret this? Like, really? Like, are you okay with knowing that you had an opportunity to do some of these things and you didn't? And so when you're on your deathbed and you're thinking back to your past, how are you going to feel? Like, are you ready to feel that feeling of regret? Or are you going to be like, let's do it? And this is the thing, you don't know if it's going to work out. Neither do I. Like, we don't know. But I do know one thing for sure, that if you make an attempt and you do it, it's not something you're going to regret, because you're going to be like, oh, you know what? I did it. It worked out. I did it. Maybe it didn't work out. I did it. Maybe I can tweak it and do it again. You have options. Try
Yes.
it. Do it. And also think about, as women, as we get older, when we do new things, it creates this new neurotransmitters in the brain. It gets you excited. It's like, why would you want to try that? Like, I know people, I was speaking to a lady the other day, she's in her 70s and she's roller skating. She said she used to roller skate when she was much younger. Now she's doing it again. I mean, I absolutely love hearing stories like that. Like,
I
why
love
not?
that.
Why
I
not?
know, and you know what? As you were saying all this, I'm like, it's never too late, and I thought
No.
of my own mom, and I'll share a story with
Yes,
you.
please
It
do.
My mom, first of all, she had me later in life, and
Mhm.
this was in 1965, okay?
Yes.
So 1965, she had me at 38. Back
Yes.
then,
Oh, yeah,
women
you're
didn't
right.
have children at 38, like,
You're
that was
right.
late.
Yeah.
So, that was the first thing, but the second thing is that and I'm so proud. My mom is no longer here, but I'm so proud of her, is she went
Yeah.
back to college in her 40s and got her
Yes.
master's degree in
Look at
English, and she became an ESL teacher, at City College of San Francisco and San Francisco State. And she noticed when she was an instructor, she noticed there weren't any books for ESL students,
that.
textbooks.
Oh,
And
wow.
so in her 50s,
Yeah.
Her and another instructor decided to write a textbook for ESL students. They did that. They ended up publishing like 4 textbooks for ESL students that are
Wow.
still published today. And she edited her last book, did her last version at 88, 6 months before she passed away.
I
It's
mean,
never
look at
too
that.
late. You
I
could
mean,
be anything.
that's an amazing story. Like just
I
listening
know.
to that, just I mean, just excites me. Like
I know.
why?
And so it goes along with exactly what you said is, you know what? You don't know if it's going to work out, but you want to do it and try, because you never want to get to the place where you're like, "Oh my god, I regret it. I didn't try. I wish I
Yeah.
did." You know?
And yeah, and also with that whole premise of trying new things, sometimes it's not about what the outcome, sometimes it's the process as you're going along because you're becoming a different version of yourself. You're
Yeah.
learning something new. You're like, oh, let me try this, let me that. That part is also great for you as you evolve as a human. That part's great. So yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. So, what's another question that you think is really important for women to ask themselves in their 50s and beyond?
So some of the things I ask kind of push you forward. Like, what would your 90-year-old self think about what you're doing right
Mm,
now? Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, because that, if that doesn't wake you up to say, "Am I really doing what I could look back on and go, I'm so proud that I did that. I did
Yes.
exactly what I wanted in life."
Exactly.
That's a really good
Yeah.
exercise.
Yeah.
What are some what are some revelations that maybe some of you've heard women say when you do that forward thinking and reflection on their lives? Have they had any like major aha moments where they're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god."
Yeah. A lot of women have realized that, you know what, they're in situations that they're like, why am I doing this? Like whether it's a job they're staying in and like, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna make a change. Whether it's a relationship, they're like, you know what? Why am I just staying here? This is not it's not working for me. I'm just like, no. And they've moved on. And I've had a client who just said, I've always wanted to move to a different country and live. She just packed her things and moved to a different country. And so and can you imagine the excitement of it's like almost like they now become they were alive before that they're even more alive when you start to do things like that really excite you, right? So I mean I've had so many different clients and friends and family members who have done things and they're like, thank you. Like those questions, we need to ask ourselves more questions like that. Like
Yeah. That's so interesting that you brought that up about like someone who wants to move to another country in midlife, right?
yeah,
And of course, it can be scary, but if
yeah,
you feel that in your heart, it's it's what I say is, because I used to live in San Francisco,
yes.
and I, at 32, freaked out because I thought I was so old. This is funny. I thought I was so old at 32. I was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to spend the rest of my life in San Francisco," and I had
Yeah,
always wanted to move to New York.
yes,
But I was scared to, because I only knew one person, and she lived
yes,
in New Jersey, and
yes.
I didn't have a job, and I didn't have a place to live, but I did it anyways. And was I scared? Yes, but here's how I got through that fear. I said, you 2 things. I said, I never want to look back on my life and say, "Oh my god, I wish I always moved to New York." And I
Exactly.
didn't. And that's number 1. But number 2, the thing that helped me move through that fear was, okay, so what if I do move to New York City and it doesn't work out, right? What if it I said, "So what? Move back to San Francisco.
Thank
No
you.
big deal." I was like,
Exactly.
and that doesn't mean I failed. It's just it
No.
didn't
Oh
work. I
no. It didn't
tried
work.
it.
You tried it.
Yeah, and it worked. I lived there for 22 years, and it was great for 22 years, and then I got tired of winter, and
I
I
don't
was
blame you.
done. And
Exactly.
then I moved to California, but that's how I was able to overcome the fear, and I
Yeah.
literally, I like I said, I knew one person, and I didn't
Exactly.
even have a job or an apartment. I moved there with
And you
no
did
job
it.
and no apartment, and it worked.
And it worked. I mean, and we become so resilient. We find ways to become more resourceful. But
Yeah.
and that's the beauty of trying new things. When you mentioned moving to New York, I remember someone who I'd met. She was a physician, and she always wanted to be an actress. So in her 60s, when she retired from practicing medicine, she moved to New York to become an actress. And she said she went to acting school. She said most of the people there were like in their late teens, 20s. And she said it was so much fun. And she started getting roles because there were a lot of opportunities for older women that there weren't people to fill them. And so she did that for a while and then she moved back eventually because her daughter had a child and she moved to be with her grandbaby. But she did that in her 60s. Like, I mean, why not?
That's awesome. That's a great story to go from a
No.
musician to an actor and move
Yes.
to New York. That's like big. Those are big steps.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Kwame, in
Yes.
your life, share with the ladies one big thing that you've done and you were scared to do in midlife that you stepped through the fear and you were like, I'm doing it anyways.
Okay. Okay. So one of the major things I did I really wanted to do was I wanted to offer a retreat in a different country. Was always I had never even offered a retreat in the States, but I was like, I want to offer a retreat in somewhere. And I was like, I'd like for it to be in Thailand. Didn't know anyone in Thailand, never been to Thailand. No. And I offered a retreat and people came and I did a retreat in Thailand. It
Had
was
you
amazing.
ever you've never been to Thailand?
No, before the retreat, no. I did
Oh,
everything for me. I figured it all out from here. Yeah.
so how did you step through the fear though? Because like right when you said that, I'm like, for me, that I feel all the fears coming up.
I think the excitement propelled me through it. Like there were times when I was
Mhm.
like, my goodness, I don't know anyone, like I'm going out, you know. But I think the excitement and just knowing that this is going to be an amazing experience for these women pushed me through it. Yeah, I did it.
And that was your first retreat?
That was my first retreat ever.
Wow. And I know, speaking of retreats, I actually noticed on your website you have your next retreat later this year, and it's
Yes.
going to be in Greece, which is one of my
No, in
favorite
Spain. Spain.
countries.
Spain.
Oh, Spain.
Spain, yes.
Is
I did
so
Greece 2 years ago.
that
Yes.
that's awesome. Now, do you rent out a house there or what do you
Yes,
do?
that's what I do. So whenever I do a retreat, I rent a villa because I want the women to be in the same space. I love
Mm,
that. So we have room, each one will have their own bedroom and bathroom. But I love the company of having everyone in the same space.
yeah.
And then we'll have all the activities together. I always get a personal chef so that, and then depending on the different dietary requirements from the participants, we take that into consideration. And it's just an amazing experience to have women who are ready, who have said yes to themselves, who have decided, you know what, this is for me. And you don't have the interruption of, your spouse, kids, pets, none of that. It's just folks. And for a lot of women, they've never done that before. A lot of them have never. I mean, some of them would say, Kwavi, I've never really packed a suitcase for myself to go somewhere. Never. It's always like maybe a family trip or maybe a business trip, but a trip
Mhm.
just for themselves, to focus just on themselves, hardly ever.
Wow. Oh, I love that. And you're so right. When you're living in the same space for whatever it is, a week to 10 days, whatever, there's a bonding that happens
Oh,
with women
oh,
that is unlike no other. And you will be friends, I guarantee you,
yes,
because I've done a retreat, and
yes,
you will be friends with these people for life. You will.
yes, yes. It happens all the time. These women end up becoming friends,
Mhm.
and they never knew each other prior to come. I mean, it's electric. It's hard to actually, really describe how the energy that is just like going back and forth in that space. It's amazing.
That's amazing. So this has been great. So, Kwame, how can people find you?
Yes, so you can find me on my website. It's www.kwavi, K-W-A, V as in Victor I.com.